Topic: The origin of Satan. Hello, welcome to Know Bible for Self. Today we are addressing perhaps the most profound theological question humanity can ask: the origin of Satan and the entrance of evil in God as perfect creation. If God is perfectly good, and God created everything, how could moral evil originate? The Bible provides a clear, though scattered, answer that points not to a flaw in the Creator, but to a catastrophic failure of a perfect creation. To understand the origin of evil, we must first understand the origin of the one we call the adversary, Satan. The Scriptures reveal that Satan was not created as the devil. He was created as Lucifer, a glorious, perfect angel who chose rebellion. Part 1. The original perfection. The angelic creation. The Bible teaches that before the creation of the world, God created myriads of non-physical, spiritual beings known as angels. These were created perfect and were not initially subject to sin or death. The origin of the being who became Satan is described most clearly in two key, symbolic Old Testament passages, one addressed to the king of Tyre and one to the king of Babylon, where the earthly king is contrasted with the superior, spiritual power behind his throne. 1. The anointed guardian cherub. Ezekiel 28:12-15. This passage describes a being far greater than any mere human king. The language used clearly moves from the earthly to the spiritual, the seal of perfection. He is described as the seal of perfection, full of wisdom and perfect in beauty. This establishes his original perfect nature, a prized place. He was in the Garden of God, Eden, suggesting a timeless spiritual realm before the human fall. He was on the holy mountain of God. The glorious covering. His covering was adorned with every precious stone, sardius, topaz, diamond, and emerald, indicating immense splendor and status. The anointed cherub. He was the anointed cherub who covers. A cherub is an order of high-ranking angel, suggesting a guardianship role near God's throne. Perfect creation. The key statement regarding the origin of evil is found here: you were blameless in your ways from the day you were created, till and righteousness was found in you. This is the insider secret to Satan's origin. He was created good and perfect, but within him, a change occurred. His evil was not imparted, it was generated. The moral lesson is profound: evil is not a substance created by God. It is the corruption of a perfect creature. 2. Lucifer, the light-bearer. Isaiah 14:12-14. The second crucial passage is addressed to the king of Babylon but uses the descriptive name Helel, translated as day star, son of dawn, which gave rise to the Latin name Lucifer, meaning light-bearer. This describes the being's fall from a place of immense splendor. Part 2. The genesis of evil. The sin of pride. The passage in Ezekiel reveals how perfection became corruption. The motive was pride. Your heart became proud on account of your beauty, and you corrupted your wisdom because of your splendor. The 5 I wills of rebellion. The 5 I wills in Isaiah 14 record the core theological definition of the first sin in the universe, the declaration of independence from God. This is the moment moral evil was born. I will ascend to heaven. Desire for God's sphere. I will raise my throne above the stars of God. Desire for God's position. I will sit enthroned on the Mount of Assembly. Desire for God's territory. I will ascend above the tops of the clouds. Desire for God's supremacy. I will make myself like the Most High. The ultimate desire for God's unique status. This rebellion was not just disobedience, it was an attempt to dethrone the Creator. Satan's sin was the attempt to make himself, a creature, the ultimate authority. This pro-tip defines evil. Evil is the rejection of God's sovereignty and the self-exaltation of the creature. The cosmic rebellion. When Satan fell, he did not fall alone. Revelation 12:4 uses symbolic language, stating that the great dragon's tail swept down a third of the stars of heaven and cast them to the earth. This is commonly interpreted to mean that a significant portion of the angels chose to follow Lucifer in his rebellion. These are the beings who became the demons, serving as his subordinates in the war against God and humanity. Part 3. The entrance of evil into the human domain. The war that began in heaven quickly arrived on earth in the Garden of Eden. This is where the original, spiritual evil became human and moral evil, sin. The role of the serpent. Genesis 3. Satan, having been cast out of his lofty position, appears in the form of a serpent to tempt humanity. His strategy was to lure humanity into committing the exact same sin he did, seeking autonomy from God, challenging God's word, did God really say, casting doubt on God's truth. Denying God's justice, you will not surely die, casting doubt on God's justice, promising autonomy, you will be like God. Knowing good and evil, promising the self-exaltation that led to Satan's own fall. When Adam and Eve chose to listen to the creature rather than the Creator, they committed the first human sin, introducing moral evil into the human heart and bringing the curse of disorder, sickness, and death into the perfect physical world. The common mistake is to think God is the source of evil. The truth is evil entered through the misuse of the perfect gift of free will given to perfect creatures. Part 4. Theological resolution: God's sovereignty over evil. The Bible maintains that God is sovereign over all, yet not the author of evil. This leads to the theological conclusion regarding the problem of evil: theodicy. Evil is a defect, not a creation. God created the being Lucifer as good. The evil pride rebellion is the defect, the corruption of that good being's perfect free will. Evil is defined as the absence or perversion of good, not a created substance. The purpose of free will: God, desiring genuine love and worship, gave his creatures free will, the capacity to choose good or evil. Without this choice, love is meaningless. God, in his ultimate wisdom, permitted the rise of evil, not because he desired it, but because the alternative was a loveless, robotic creation. God's control: even though Satan is the author of evil, he is never outside of God's control. The entire Bible, from Genesis 3:15, the first promise of a Redeemer, to Revelation, Satan's final defeat, is the story of God utilizing and ultimately conquering the evil that Satan introduced. The moral lesson is, Satan is powerful, but he is a defeated foe operating on a leash held by the sovereign hand of God. In conclusion, the Bible clearly teaches that the origin of Satan was in the perfection of the cherub Lucifer, and the origin of moral evil was in his prideful misuse of free will, making him the primary tempter who brought sin into the human world. This knowledge assures us that God is completely good, and that evil is an intrusion that he has already paid the ultimate price to undo. If this deep exploration of the origin of evil has brought clarity to your understanding of God's plan, please hit the like button and subscribe to Know Bible for Self. What part of Satan's fall, his pride or his fate, do you find most sobering? Let me know in the comments below. Thank you for watching.